now. Perfect. So basically, Katarzyna, thank you very much for this. This is basically a new series. The idea is that mediators tell us their memorable experiences, not just in a mediation, in general, in the mediation world. So I thought if the JAMS fellowship is coming up and the applications have been invited, why not have JAMS fellows tell us about their experience? It is memorable, as I can understand from what I hear from everyone. And the point was that, I mean, I just felt that people who want to apply just an inspiration, and of course, in terms of the process that you went through and everything, that's just the basic idea. But what came out from that now was that it kind of gives people a concrete idea of what they want to do in the mediation world. So what I'm thinking is, of course, these fellows first of all, fellow was a problem I had with. I had that just gender issue, whether it should be called fellow or not. That's another issue. But I was
I
thinking
can be
that
called fellow.
you can be, you're a
I'm
jolly
a
good fellow.
senior. I'm a senior fellow now.
You're a
So
jolly good fellow, but fellow is a male concept. That is the only thing that
I don't care.
I know. So now I was thinking from that was that while all these people who are doing good things in the various parts of the world, then I'm talking to people how we can actually fund their projects. So I can have a certain kind of a, let's see what I call it. Might not be a fellowship, but something else. So that came out as an interesting thing out of it. So there's so many people wanting to do interesting things. So let's get them to how we can get them going, whatever they need. But that's the second thing. First thing is, Katarzyna, thank you for being here. And it's always a pleasure talking to you. What you can do is just introduce yourself and then take us through the JAMS, how you came across it and how it went on. Please, all yours. I'll come in when you want me to come in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with you. It's always something interesting to speak about and to exchange ideas. My name is Katarzyna Przyluska. I'm a Polish barrister and mediator. I've been actually trained as a judge at the beginning of my career, and then I switched to the bar. I was barrister for more than 22 years, and last 15 years I'm working as a mediator. 10 years ago, I had a dream which came true. I was inventor, and I established Mediation Center for a Polish bar association. So for whole country, for whole lawyers. And that idea was strange that time. But finally, with that position, I was able to develop actually in bar association and around the bar. So through lawyers, the idea of dispute resolution in amicable alternative, let's say, way. The whole story with JAMS, I think, for me, starts many, many years before when I heard first time about JAMS. It was always top of the top of possibilities you can actually, as a mediator from Europe, get to. And this idea was, fluctuating in me, but I didn't actually know about the fellowship. So I did so many different things around mediation, and actually now from the perspective of being a JAMS fellow, senior fellow, I can tell that building this and developing the structure of my career in mediation world was the basic step to become a fellow, because otherwise there is really difficult. It's the fellowship for people they have already experience in mediation, and they are kind of a dreamer and people with a lot of energy, I think, and fantasy, and a lot of different meaning of actually mediation, what mediation can be. So for me, mediation was like a first, one of the first love in my life, and is still. So this passion to work for amicable dispute resolution, coach people, advocate for mediation, peace building, peacemaking, and explaining, introducing, always doing something to be better myself too, in bringing this mindset, especially to the world of lawyers and around courts, to judges, to assistants in courts, to other practitioners, became kind of my passion. And as I have two sons, they are now grown men, they always were introducing her mom as, oh, she's crazy about mediation. So if you want to do anything different, instead of playing with us, you can always talk with my mom. She's here and she's crazy about mediation. And that's probably true. And so that was the starting point, actually. And 3 years ago, I was in very difficult time in my life, actually. And I think that announcement about the fellowship just came in a perfect time. But that time I was actually thinking opposite. I was not able to prepare my application. I didn't think I could be enough good to go there. So with help of my friends and closest family, I start developing this application from actually scratch, because I was not prepared to do that for months. I just saw the application, I think on LinkedIn, and I said, oh, to myself, that would be great, but not this time. I just can't do it. But I called my brother, and he said, like, you should do it. You are the person, you should actually do it. This is the only way you can actually transform what is now going in your life for something better. So there are a few points I think that are most important. That the idea of what you actually want to get from JAMS as a fellow, because JAMS as a foundation itself, they are very smart people, and they are not going to help you in your application. So they can only answer for your needs, and you have to know your needs. And it's exactly about mediation. So one thing is a position, the other thing is an interest, but the most important thing is a need. So if you know what your needs are, and you have integrity, and you are consistent in it and consequent, you're gonna probably get that. But that's what I think from the point of view of the senior fellow, that it's not about putting as much as you can to the application. It's just about putting something which is adequate to the time, to your level of experience, and to the possibility you can actually develop in the future. So the application should be very logical in a way, because it can be easily checked with your experience. So I think people, they were happy to become a fellows. They always have something which was integral with themselves. And it's very simple way to check it, because at the beginning there is a 1 week when fellows spend together with the members of the foundation and members of the JAMS, very, very notable people. And through that week, everything becomes obvious, who you are, about your application, what you want to do, and actually why you get there. Because I think the cohort, it's about being in a right time, in a right place with the right people. And it's actually very diverse place, and everyone share what they have. So I would say it's such a important thing to be truly dedicated and very how to say, very honest, actually, very honest to yourself and very honest to people you apply to. Because I think the money is just the second stage of this application. So the whole application consists, I think, of 3 parts. One is just the application, so the formula you have to fulfill. Then there is a CV, which you have to bring, and it's just describing your experience in mediation in your country mostly. Sometimes there are people, they already have some international connections, but mostly it's about bringing the environment from your country to your application. So what you already done, how is the situation with mediation in your country, what can be changed, how can be changed, and why you need actually help from people who are more experienced to develop this concept of alternative dispute resolution in your country. It could be through students, because I know there are sometimes law professors, or through lawyers, as I was probably chosen for, or through judges, or through other practitioners. So it's not only for lawyers. Definitely, this fellowship is for people from different professions. But people suitable for that. And I can't tell you how they choose, but I think members of the foundation, of the council of the foundation, they have this kind of smell or nose, or I don't know, experience, and every it's like a puzzle, and the first day you probably can't realize why I'm here, and then everything comes in a place. I think the most important thing in the application, as I said, is the part where you should explain about activity upon return to your home country. So there is a part of the story from the past in your application. There is a part of the story from your dream, which is actually the time when you are in America, and you can use that money to actually make your dream become real. And then there is a part of the story which is the future. And then, because you know that your dream from the past can be true, truly experienced, then you can actually, in the same way, kind of dream and make the plan for the future. And this is beautiful, because it makes people think that I can do that. I mean, I can actually change something. I have some power of changing the dream to the real, and that change can, develop something more important for the society. So this is something which is I think the part one. Yes, and I would recommend to start with, but people are different. But I was always a dreamer, and I always fly on the carpet from the fairy tales or different stories from kids. So I started from the dream, what I would be when I came back, and what I could do when I will come back from America.
Can you tell us specifics? We can tell us specifics. What was the actual dream?
And actually, I didn't remember properly, so I took my, this is my application, and I have my notes after that, because then you change everything when you are thinking about it. Is when you're approaching the date of actually flying there, you change, because you get to know people, you get to know the possibilities, you know how much money you get, so you can, and this is my application, so it's like real, it's here. Yes, so I started from scratch. I was just having some ideas. I heard about Pepperdine mindfulness course for lawyers. I heard about Harvard course, and I had some different notes in my office. And that day when I started doing this, I just was like like a mouse going through my office and trying to find what was that was. And because I'm a kind of a person, I try to keep everything I'm going through, so making a notes, photographing, and my life is like a puzzle. So I found it, and that day I remember, because I put this estimation, and I put exactly what I want: Harvard program, Women's Negotiation Academy, annual for professional skills program and dispute resolution. That was mine. And then where is this? Mindfulness. I have it somewhere here. There was on Pepperdine, and there was where is this? I will find it, because it was amazing when I look at today. Oh yes, practical mindfulness program, Heart of Conflict at Pepperdine University. actually, that year when I came to America, because they do it only every 2 years, nothing like that happened. But being a fellow, you have to be very open and very flexible, because from day to day, everything can change dramatically, for good or for bad, depends how you think. And that's why mindfulness mindset is so important to have it, because I was so lucky being there when I came to San Francisco, and I get to know Judge Danny Weinstein and Judge Rebecca Westerfield, and with their help I was introduced to Judy Cohen. She's a lawyer, obviously, but now she's a mindfulness for lawyers teacher trainer at Berkeley. And finally, after half a year, I became a participant of the 1-year course for teachers of mindfulness for lawyers. So everything can be possible. All courses are connected in a way. So depends how long you plan to be there. But I was very lucky, because I planned for 4 months, and actually I became a fellow in UN with help of foundation, and I was working in UN for additional 3 months. So I was there more than 6 months, but COVID changed my plans too. So from that perspective, as I told you, being flexible in both ways, because at the beginning, everything was super positive, but then when pandemic came and the lockdown started, everything fall down, and I have to be and I have had to be very flexible too, and not take it personal, and just come back home. That was the only possibility I could that time decide to. So coming back to application is really difficult, probably, when you apply, to estimate the costs and propose the budget. But because we don't know. I mean, we don't know how much we're gonna spend for tickets, transport, housing, and different things. But I would say put as much as you can estimate, because later on there is a way to actually use that money if something very interesting and important happened during your course of fellowship. And I know that few colleagues had that situation, and they were very happy because they could change quickly. Yes, and even have this, you know, this kind of free, you know, possibility to decide. And it's possible that you're just gonna change something because, you know, circumstances can change too. Anyway, be flexible but precise, kind of precise in your application, but flexible and open for change, because sometimes you just can't get what you want. That's what with mindfulness, what was with my mindfulness practical course, but I could do something else. And the big part of my fellowship, and I think the luckiest fellow ever, because I was so long and I had experienced mediation itself with so many different mediators from JAMS, and not only from JAMS, because through ICC competition in Paris, where I was judging and mediating previously as a professional, I met so many mediators from around the world. And when I was planning to come to America, I just wrote to them saying, I'm coming, and maybe there would be a way of observing what you're doing, seeing your office, meet you. And a few of these people were so open and so helpful. And I had experienced mediation, not only in JAMS, but with other mediators in New York, in Los Angeles, in San Francisco. So mediation world is about friendship too, and it's very important that we are all kind of activists, and the way of accepting people, being open, and always helping, supporting, it's a big part of this community, I think. So I always have someone I can just catch a hand when something bad was on the horizon. And because of that, I experienced so many shadowing in such a different way that I think that brought me back to the time when I was studying. And from that perspective, if you are already experienced mediator and coming there, you become as a child with all this curiosity and courage to just jump there, and you can ask questions, and you can try to understand, especially with, you know, language the differences. You can get as much as you want because they are so open and always happy to answer and always happy to help. And even if there is a fellowship, and comparing to what we are doing every day and what I was doing, working on, you know, in my office, working in the Mediation Center, doing a lot of stuff, teaching. So I was like 24 hours working. And then I went to America and I had just a fellowship. But I was waking up every morning and working kind of through the day and weekends, and I don't regret any minute of this time, even if there was really sometimes hard and sometimes even harder than in Poland, because I don't commute that time in Poland to my office, and I had to commute. I remember first 2 weeks in New York when I had to commute 1 hour and a half from Brooklyn to Manhattan every morning, just swallowing in the tube. But yes, I did it. And I think this is again the kind of experience which is very important for building our trust to ourselves, that we never, it's like a part of being immediate. It's just being always the beginner. It's just like with meditation, and probably Vikram can say that you always start with the open mind and as a beginner, every day, every minute.
So then after that, now you went there, you met these people, you did the shadowing and everything. And then after that, you had to then cut it short. So which month did you go in?
I went to America August 2019.
Okay. And then you were supposed to what? You're supposed to be maximum of 4 months, and then you
Yes, but I was longer. So I came back to Poland March, exactly the day when the lockdown started. So that was, I think, 17th of March, 2020.
So what did you come back with now? If you've done all this, what is that? What have you brought back to Poland?
I brought back to Poland, definitely I brought back to Poland mindfulness and different approach to being a lawyer and being mediator, and especially in pandemic time. I brought different approach to evaluative mediation, which was when I left Poland was still very unlikely to have one-day mediation and have evaluative style. And I think now it's more understandable and more even professional sometimes to be able to help with absolutely with neutrality, but with some professional approach to the conflict. And I think people appreciate that. I brought perspective of different colleagues from different parts of the world, as a Spanish, as Indian, or who actually introduced me to their ideas, how they understand mediation from their perspective. And it gave me a different angle to see how people can, even in there is no cross culture itself, how people can see the process differently. I think I brought definitely change in myself. I'm much more patient in mediation, and I have so many different skills, which I kind of stolen from different people. And the way I could experience and exchange with more experienced than I am mediators, what they did, how they ask, why they ask. That was the kind of the new background for my mediation practice. I brought the idea of I already had that idea in my application. Then I established foundation, and today I'm running a foundation which composed of two parts. One is pro-mediation part, so it's using mediation and the concept of dispute resolution in whole different possibilities. and the other is pro well-being, pro wellness. It's reducing stress and trying to avoid conflict or prevent conflict. And so it's mostly stress management and everything which comes with the mindfulness, which can be used as a tool for bringing peace to our minds. And actually, with the foundation, I'm working as a now kind of expert on different projects with judges, with mediators, but with schools too, with teachers, with other professionals, with psychologists, on different projects where mediation as a concept is only a part of the bigger picture. And I call sometimes myself as a kind of an ambassador. So whenever I go, I just bring the concept. And if people want to explore more, I can be read as a book. If they don't want, I'm just leaving this kind of idea. And I already have some experience because I was crazy about mediation before. So many people were like, no, we don't like mediation, we're never gonna use it. And I think that time I could be more offended by listening to them. And I was hardly trying to impose something. Now, from the perspective of openness, I'm just listening. And with the silence, I'm kind of mirroring what they're saying. And I think the change is in themselves already when they start avoiding. So it's very interesting. The good thing about being a fellow is just this feeling of belonging to the community, belonging to the same kind of word, which is invisible maybe, but I think we mediators are from the planet as a little prince. We are flying from planet to planet, and we plant a seed, and we take care of our rose, and and we see what is in an elephant, definitely, even if some people can't see it. So I have my elephant with me. I will go and show you. It's not exactly, but this is always with me, and it's painted by my cousin's son and daughter. And I think this is papier-mâché, and I think this is like this is like a symbol of everything is possible. You can even have a yellow, colored animal with you every day, and it's okay.
But now all the senior mediators that you interacted with, anything specific that you want to talk about, their style or the way the people that they were?
I would say it's never too late to study. You can study, and actually I love study, but some people think, oh, I'm too old to study. I'm enough for study. I just I just passed this exam. This is the last thing I'm going to study. I think that for me, the kind of mentoring and coaching by mediators like Judge Rebecca Westerfield, Judge Daniel Weinstein, Bruce Edwards, John Bates. I would never express my gratitude how deeply I could experience mediation, being a only observer. And for many, I think for many experienced mediators, the biggest challenge is to be there in that room and just observe, because you are not co-mediating, you are not giving any advice, you are not a consultant, you are there just observing and being present in that moment, and being, like having that perspective, the distance to observe, can give you so much insights about your work. And that was the biggest, I think, the biggest part of this extremely valuable knowledge. As we are human beings, and we have this, we tend to criticize, to judge, to having concepts about what's going on. And this idea of just being there, just observing, maybe you can make a notes. I did notes because one of my mediator, very experienced one, at the beginning told me, Kasia, the one thing you should know before you start shadowing, always make a notes. And then with this notes, I actually grow from mediation to mediation. And I have all these notes with me. And sometimes when I was preparing something on my teaching or preparing for mediation, I opened this and I was like, what John would say that? What Judge would... I have it. And I have every single day journal with some specific tips and skills and questions. So I think I would never had in my life time to be so much diving in a process, so much experiencing every single question, every answered question, and even experiencing silence. Can you imagine? Like, I was on a mediation in Silicon Valley with one of the retired judge, as an observer, as a fellow. I think the mediation the value was like $56 million. And I have my journal. What happened? Minute after minute. And there was a deal. Everyone was happy. They signed an agreement. There was a huge success. People were happy. They shake hands. And I remember the moment when we came to the office and I saw those people in 2 rooms. I told myself, it's not going to happen. I had this brief. I went through them few times because, when you are not a native speak English person, you have to go through briefs if you have it many, many times. And that was my experience. And then moment by moment, this started happening. This, you know, like there was like waves from this and that. It was just like a wind there, and it's just, I mean, that was not 2 hours. We were there from 8:30 morning till 11:30 evening. And then coming back, judge was driving from Silicon Valley to San Francisco, and he put the music. I remember I think there was a jazz, and we were just sitting in silence. There was nothing we can say about what happened. We're just experiencing the moment of being in silence and with incorporating this, what happened there. And these moments are like, I would remember a few moments from this or the other mediation, like tears in one mediation in San Francisco with, I can't say because everything is confidential, but people I would dream of meeting as a client, yes. And it was so moving. It was so incredibly true. It was happening there, and I was there, and there was that moment that, you know, that turned everything around. So what I could say, if you are passionate about mediation, if you know that you are flexible, if you believe in yourself, and you know that peacemaking and building a new word with amicable dispute resolution as a main kind of resolving conflict, you should apply. And I think not everyone can be probably chosen. And I just forget about it, but few months before I was applying for different fellowship and I was refused. And when I checked my journal today, I found out that I was frustrated. I was sad. I was very pessimistic about my possibilities, and I feel weak. And few months later, JAMS fellowship happens. So you never know, and in every day is a hope that something can happen. So if you are not chosen, it's okay too.
Yeah, something good will come out of it. That's what I've been saying, that
Absolutely.
at least your own ideas of what you want to do, at least that comes out. And there are so many other ways to do it. It's not just one fellowship, but like what I do
Exactly. So
yeah, I was just thinking,
that
yeah, I was just opening that the page for them to, this is where the link is, just to tell them this is where you have to go see what the program is all about. What I'm more interested to see is who all in your cohort, and you can tell us about those people. What?
my
Okay, this is last
friend,
date is 19th November.
can you open it?
Yeah, I'm coming there. So this is yours. These are your people with you.
Yes.
So tell us
Zishan
about them. Yeah.
from Pakistan, good friend. We are gonna fight for democracy.
Where
Our
is
friend
democracy?
from
First of all, Kasia, where is democracy? Which place in this world has democracy?
I know, I don't know, but democracy means free people.
You feel that? I feel
That's
that this is the will of the people. But I was talking to that with Ken Cloak on that book, and I tried to get into that. That 33% is all that the votes that the current president has of the entire votes in the country. And that, how do you say that is a democracy? And there's all this dividing and ruling is what the
that's
colonization
what I
concept.
said. We are in a path of fighting for our rights, for fighting for kind of fighting. It means it can be advocating. Fighting is just it's just a word. So Ugo from Nigeria, great law professor. I hope she is doing well, and I hope the mediation law is already introduced there. Merita from Albania. We were together in UN at the first week when I came there. Eleni from Cyprus, great person. She's teaching, she's bringing mediation to Cyprus business world. So it's very important. Adi from Romania, we are the Prachi, one of my closest friends. The first day I sat next to her, and I think that was the sign. She's from India. Carolina, she's like my sister. From Spain. Now she lives in America. She's a legal advisor for one of the biggest energy company. Kennedy from Kenya. He finished Pepperdine next year, and hopefully he's back in his country. Me with the longest name. You can imagine, Katarzyna Przyluska, no one can even try to read it. So KPC, if you want to find me anywhere, is a KPC. Jody from Hong Kong. Thank you, Jody, for actually teaching me what is mask, what is gloves when pandemic came. I have no idea. I'm gonna experience this in my life. And Panjal, the very nice young mediator from India. I hope he is doing very well with his ideas about mediation. And yeah, the cohort is just amazing. And I think all people I met, they will still, feel the same what I feel with them, very close. And I think I can always call them, write to them, ask. They're all my teachers through the last 2 years. And I don't know, this is a miracle how JAMS can put people together and make this kind of family working. So.
But Pranjal, I think what he's done is very interesting. You know what he's done in India, that the platform that is created. I think that coming out of college and having these ideas and being able to create the entire thing, I think they've done a very good job.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is what your cohort was. Of course, we had the others. So Adi's session is already up there. So that was what your interesting experience was. And more, what about after all that, doing whatever you did in Poland? So today, when you look back, what do you look back at, say to yourself?
I said to my son, because we had a very nice conversation today, and I remember what was my experience inside me, inside my head and inside my body before I was packing, or during I was packing to America. I was super stressed, very, very hardworking lawyer, single mom, very ambitious person, trying to get what I can to help my sons and me in our life. And from the perspective, maybe it's all together, as a JAMS fellowship, as my mindfulness training, as a COVID, and actually COVID, which bring me to the different space. So I could meet through COVID so many interesting people, mediators, mindfulness teachers, lawyers. I was on so many conferences. Now from that perspective, I can tell I grow, I developed something in me, and I have much more hope for future, even if the realistically situation is not very good around, and especially in Poland these days. As you probably know, there is a crisis, humanitarian crisis on our border with immigrants. But I can face this, and every mediation, every new project come, I can be more wise and answer with some perspective. Should I do that? Why? And what's gonna be the fruit of my my action? So this is what I can see now as a senior fellow.
So now we have to work on helping a lot of more people pursue their dreams, because obviously JAMS will be aware that's a limited number of people who can do that. So I think we have to work on that. Katarzyna, we have to try and get some way of getting people involved who can fund those people. And there's so many people in every corner of the world who wants to do those nice things, the good things, they have good intentions, but to actually get them and putting them out. So I think we have to help them on that also. And you have a role to play in that.
Absolutely,
Yes, you have a role to
absolutely.
play.
And I think what I could say, you, Vikram, you are doing so beautiful work for not only for mediation world, but for young, maybe not only young, but for people around the world. They can see themselves. They can find friends, you know, the people they are thinking the same way through your channel. Because I remember when I started thinking about meditation as a part of my practice to be better mediator, I have no idea that somewhere in America there are people that are doing that.
Exactly. Yeah.
There was no Zoom working like that. And I was asking different people, but they were like, no, mediation, meditation, maybe you mix something, maybe you don't know what you're talking about. And then I went there and I start to try to explain myself. And I said, like, we know these people. It's just, you know, you can just call them. They are here. You're not crazy. You're not, you know, like. So, so yes, this is great what you're doing, and hopefully, you know, we can make. Maybe we can make, you know, this movement growing, and maybe one day someone with big money will come and will say, like, you crazy people, you have like, you know, $1 billion to do that. Yes. And then, Vikram, you would have all these people from all this, you know, stories, mindset, colloquium and different, you know, conferences, and you would know what to do, who is helping who and why they need this, and maybe in India this, and Nigeria this, and maybe Afghanistan this, and, you know, we building something. Yes. And this is so beautiful that we can do that together.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for. That's exactly what I've been saying. Work with me, do something. Let's do things together. There's so much to do. And there's so many nice people out there. And that's the best part. The people with the mediator mindset, I keep saying, wonderful people, special people. Just conversing with them is so nice. Forget the fact of working. That itself is another level. But it's really nice. So
Yes,
putting all
but
those things.
you know, very important part of what you are doing is the golf playing. And,
Yes.
you know, everyone should know that the golf is just very sophisticated sport. And I would say, I have no idea because I've never been there as a player, but as I can read or talk to people who are golfers who have some experience, it's for very, very wise people with a lot of patience. And, you know, is just so similar to mediation.
Yep. I don't know. You go to my Twitter, you go to my Twitter things. The first thing that I've shown, let me show that to you. Interesting that you just mentioned this because that's my pinned tweet there. How the two are the same. Not bad. Good, you've picked this up. I have to show you this. Okay. Oh, that was really nice that you picked this up. I really always keep telling people this, and now you've picked it up. Good. Okay. So this is the tweet that I have pinned out there. And I say, isn't mediation very much like golf? So just read this.
Yes.
Yes, just the same.
And I think, and you probably, you are a practitioner, so you can tell to anyone that sport, the practice, discipline is a part of mediation too. And not getting frustrated and being
Exactly.
open. Yes. And I I would say everyone who had in their life, his life experience in sport would actually probably just feel it now. Yes, I was a artistic swimmer, synchronized swimmer for many years. I love swimming, and I think this swimming part of my life, this like silence down the water, is a big part of our process of growing as a mediators. Sometimes we have to dive even deeply, but after every mediation, we dive in there. We just staying in silence, trying to incorporate what happened, and at the same time clean all what was put it. And yes, I think sport is just the good way to start with. And that's how when I have experience with kids and teenagers, and they ask me about becoming a lawyer or becoming a engineer or professional, I always can reflect on my swimming practice and discipline, and just the practice. This is a practice. Every day, every single day, raining or sunny, winter or summer, it's just a new day, new practice, new part of the path.
Yeah. But I in the symposium, have you seen Kiki's session? Kiki's also talking about mindfulness in for mediators and all. So did a very interesting session. You must watch that. She made me, I had to,
Definitely.
of course, I had to mute also. She said, okay, now laugh like this and all. I had to mute myself there. But the fact was very interesting. First of all, she's a very wonderful person, but what work that she's doing, have a look at that also. So this mindfulness is important. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that is, I think, by
From which
itself.
country? From which country?
She's in the US. She's in Florida.
Okay.
So Christine Grossman, Kiki.
Mm-hmm.
So have a look at that. She was also she and her husband was on that in conversation with the beautiful mind also. Nice session. You must watch that. So Katarzyna, any final last? I mean, I don't say final words now. I say any concluding remarks. Anything that you want to tell us finally, and to the people who want to apply, and anything.
There was interesting story today. I heard about the I think Zen master and student, and student came to Zen master and asked if Zen master can be a mentor. And Zen master said yes, yes. And student asked, how long does it take to become a profession in what? 10 years. Oh, student said, it's really long time. So if I'm gonna practice every day, how long does it take? And Zen master said 20 years. Wow, 20 years. So if I would practice every day and every night, how long does it take? And Zen master said 30 years. And the student asked master, why is that? I'm offering working more and you are adding years. And the Zen master said, Because if you only see the scope, one eye is not working to observe what's the present is and get. So that's what I want to share. Always look for observing two eyes. That's why we have two eyes, to observe what's going on. So it's not about having a scope.
Yeah. So main thing is Katarzyna is always willing to help people if they reach out to her. She's a very busy person, but yes, if she can, she will definitely help. And thank you very much for being here. And we should, of course, we will continue our conversation